So we're going to talk about a subject that I'm always excited about and excited about sharing the information on. We're going to talk about tax-free retirement income. And we're going to talk about tax-free retirement income with the IUL. So I encourage you guys to take notes this evening and definitely take heed to this information and learn it because there's a lot of misinformation out there about the IUL and about tax-free retirement income. But there's a lot of no information out there on the tax-free retirement income part and a lot of misinformation on the IUL. So we are going to jump into the presentation for this evening. And as I said before, I'm excited about sharing this information. So let's go. Tax-free retirement income with the IUL. So the retirement tax problem. Here's the situation. The retirement tax problem is a ticking time bomb. Most Americans save in tax-deferred, vehicles like the 401ks and the IRAs. And while these save taxes today, it creates a liability for the future. And so what happens is a lot of people are saving in these tax-deferred and happily enjoying them a lot of times because they don't know that there's even other options out there. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight, the tax-free retirement option, because a lot of people are not aware of it and have no idea, and especially not with using the IUL. So in the case of saving in the 401ks and the IRAs, 100% of distributions are taxed as ordinary income. And one of the biggest challenges is that taxes may be higher in the future due to the national debt. And then Social Security taxation can be triggered by IRA withdrawals. So even though you're saving in those vehicles and you're saving on your taxes today, because they are deferred till later, you can experience a lot of tax implications. So what is an index universal life? It is permanent protection. And basically, at its core, IUL is a permanent life insurance policy. It provides a death benefit that generally passes income tax-free to your heirs, creating an immediate estate and financial security for your family. It also has cash accumulation, and a portion of your premium goes to a cash value account. This account earns interest based on the performance of the market index, typically like the S&P 500, but you're not directly invested in the market. So your money is growing with the index strategy, and that index strategy is what will create a floor and a ceiling for you sometimes. So there are now some uncapped index strategies as well, but a lot of them are capped strategies. And I'll talk about that in a minute. There's three pillars of the IUL. And the first one is the upside potential. And that's what happens is it's creating it's creating a link. It's creating, I'm sorry, it's linked to the index strategy, like the S&P 500, like I said. And when the market goes up, you participate and you get the gains of the market up to the cap if it's a cap strategy, and if it's uncapped, you get the potential, the upside potential, based on whatever the index strategy is doing. Typically, it's capped at about 10 to 12%. And then you have the downside protection. So the zero floor that I mentioned a few minutes ago is your protection. Zero is your hero. So if the market index is negative for that year, and your interest credited is zero, then you don't lose and you don't participate in the downside of the market. So you continue to hold steady at zero. So you don't gain, but you don't lose either. And that's the good thing with the zero floor, that you're not losing any money. And then the third pillar is tax advantages. Growth is tax deferred, and that's based on Internal Revenue Code 72E. And then access to tax-free income via loans is based on Internal Revenue Code 7702, and the death benefit is tax-free. So understanding the IRS codes, Internal Revenue codes, then you see that there's some tax advantages to having this IUL. And one of the key ones, of course, is understanding the IRC 7702. And the good thing about understanding the Internal Revenue codes is a little sidebar. I watched a young man try to talk negative about the IUL today on the internet, and it's amazing that people don't have the knowledge. But it's good to know these codes, because he insinuated that the way the IUL works should be illegal, and that means he didn't have any idea of how it works, because once you connect it with the Internal Revenue codes, those codes are written, and that is law. And understanding the IRC 72E and IRC 7702 will give you a good knowledge base and credibility to understand that there's nothing illegal about how the IUL functions. So it's just a little side note right there. So participating in the market. The IUL allows you to capture a significant portion of market growth without the risk of owning stocks directly. So you don't have to own the stocks directly, and you're not participating directly in the market. By using annual point-to-point crediting strategies, your gains are locked in every year. And then once interest is credited, it becomes part of your principal and cannot be lost in future market downturns. Key thing right there. Right there, that statement is critical. It becomes part of your principal and cannot be lost in future market downturns. So using the annual point-to-point crediting strategy, your gains are locked in every year. So it is participating once again in the market, but it's not directly in the market. It's using the strategy, the index strategy. So here's the power of zero. I told you zero is your hero, and zero is your hero. Why? Because in years like 2008 or 2022, when the S&P 500 dropped significantly, an IUL policy would credit 0%. While you don't make money that year, you don't lose the gains from previous years. So this prevents you from losing money, and you from losing the gains that you already created. So zero is your hero, and it keeps you from losing when the market has a downturn. And that is the power of zero. So the power of zero is tremendous in helping you when you're using the index strategies, such as the index strategy that the IUL uses. How to access income tax-free. This is the part everybody is interested in. The strategy, participating loans. That is the key strategy they're doing it. And instead of withdrawing your money which reduces the principal, you borrow against it. And when you borrow against it, your cash value stays in the policy, continuing to earn interest. See, that's significant. And a lot of people that talk against the IUL, they don't even understand this part. They don't understand, have any idea how it works. So this is a good thing to understand, that your cash value stays in the policy and continues to earn interest. And then if your policy, for example, if your policy earns 6% and your loan costs 5%, you make a positive spread on the money that you borrowed. So a lot of times, some of the IULs that we write have loans that are no more than 4, possibly 5%. So if you're earning higher than the loan value, then you're getting a positive still on the money that you earn and the money that you borrow. And then tax status. Because it is a loan, the IRS does not classify it as income, assuming that the policy does not lapse. Now, if the policy does lapse, then, and you still have a loan, all of the loan becomes earned income, and you will be taxed on it. But as long as the policy does not lapse and you're taking out loans, the IRS does not classify it as income to you, so you don't pay taxes on it. So there's 2 phases in the policy. The accumulation phase, typically we look at growing that money, and we're just looking at age 40 to 65. If you start earlier, then of course your accumulation phase can be greater. But here's a scenario of a male, 40 years old, preferred health, $25,000 annual premium, and he's getting an assumed interest rate of 6.5% on the policy. So what happens is, starting at year 41 and on, he's put annual premium of $25,000 a year in there. His death benefit is $850,000, and the total paid that first year is $25,000, and accumulated the cash value accumulated is $22,140. And as you look at the chart, the longer he continues to save in this policy, the more that the death benefit, it's an increasing policy. So the more the death benefit increases, and the accumulated value increases as well. So you continue to look at the policy going in, still putting in $25,000 a year. So by age 65, he has a death benefit of $1.4 million and has a cash value accumulation of $1.1 million in there. So it will continue to grow in the accumulation phase of your policy while you're making contributions, and assuming that you're getting a good interest rate. And illustration wise, this is a 6.5% illustrated rate or assumed interest rate. However, some policies will actually give a better return than that. But by law, we illustrate no more than 6.5%. Then the second phase of your policy is the distribution phase. And this is after you reach retirement and you start taking cash out of the policy. And this distribution phase on this example is 66 to age 90. They started making contributions stopped making contributions at age 65 and started taking money out at 66. And they turned on the tax-free income stream. So now at 66, the annual tax-free income is $85,000 that they're taking out of this policy, with a net death benefit of $1.4 million of death benefit. And then the total cash value remaining is $1.1 million. So it continues to go. And if they take money out till 90 and they're still taking out, you see in the first column, annual tax-free income, 85. So it's always taking out $85,000 a year. The net death benefit is still continued to grow because it's still accumulating cash value, and is now $2 million. And then, of course, the remaining cash value at that age is 1.8 million, and the total income taken by that time is over $2 million. So it continues to grow, and in the accumulation phase, you can take out a solid amount of money based on how you funded the policy, and you can take it out for the rest of your life. So in this example, this guy's taking out $85,000 tax-free, and he will do it for the rest of his life. So the tax equivalent value. So to net $85,000 out of the policy, spendable income in a 30% aggregate tax bracket, a traditional 401k would require a withdrawal of over $121,000. So to hit these same numbers, the person that's taking out $85,000 in a policy, if they were in a traditional account 401k, to net $85,000, they would have to take out $121,000. So they would be paying about $36,000 in taxes. In the IUL policy, to net $85,000, there's no tax bill because it's a tax-free income. So the withdrawals are tax-free. Well, not the withdrawals, the loans are tax-free. And you can do that for the rest of your life. Keep in mind, the money that's coming out of the policy comes out of the death benefit. So the death benefit does decrease, but you do get a tax-free retirement income that can supplement any other retirement income that you have. So risk and considerations to look at. Surrender charges. The IUL is a long-term vehicle, and many people have to understand that. It's not something you put in and it happens overnight. And early cancellation often results in loss of principal due to surrender fees. Typically, surrender charges are last anywhere from 10 to, some policies have 15 years. Most of the policies we write have a 10-year surrender charge. So it is a long-term vehicle to invest in, or save in. It's not investing, it's saving. And then the cap rates. The insurance company can adjust cap rates annually. So if the cap drops significantly, your growth potential decreases as well. So one of the things about the cap is that the insurance company can drop the cap rate or raise the cap rate at any time. So that is something to be cognizant of. And then the cost of insurance. Cost rises as you age, so the policy must be properly funded. Really, it should be max funded to ensure cash value growth outpaces these costs. So a lot of people that are middle class people have to make sure that they're putting in enough money into the policy to fund it to where they can still get the cash value growth, and it'll outpace the upfront costs in the policy. And then the lapse risk. If the cash value hits zero, the policy lapses. And if you have any outstanding loans, the entire loan balance becomes taxable income immediately. So one of the things you look at is making sure that your policy is not going to lapse. You're putting in enough money to keep it alive and keep it where it will not lapse, and it will continue to grow and thrive and continue to go to the next level. So in summary, the IUL offers a powerful third bucket for retirement planning, bridging the gap between risk that stocks offer and safety that bonds offer. So the IUL is a great opportunity to save for a tax-free retirement income. And it puts you in a situation where, of course, as we stated in the title, that your money for retirement is now coming to you tax-free. And you can continue to get that tax-free retirement income for the rest of your life. So here's the next steps. Review your current tax diversification. Make sure that you are looking at all of your tax options with all of your savings for retirement. And then run a personalized illustration based on your age and your health. So talk to a agent that can run you a personalized illustration based on your age and health to see what the numbers look like for you in an IUL, and then compare the max funded IUL versus the taxable alternatives. And I think if you make those comparisons, you will see that the IUL, if you qualify health-wise, that's why it says run an illustration based on your age and your health. Then you'll see that in my eyes, it is a great alternative to the taxable savings for retirement. So the IUL is a great option for tax-free retirement income, and it will put you in a situation where you will retire and have money coming in tax-free. And the beauty of it is it will come in for the rest of your life if your policy is designed correctly and you have max funded your policy or funded your policy enough to where it will stay alive. So I've enjoyed sharing this information with you guys this evening, and I hope you take note of this and took something out of this. I am a business director at Eduardo Sprague, and my time is up this evening, and I thank you for yours. So you guys have a great evening.